Manchester United remain firmly in the hunt for a new centre-forward as the summer transfer window of 2025 approaches its conclusion. One name that has resurfaced with growing prominence is Juventus marksman Dusan Vlahovic. According to recent reports emerging from Europe, the Serbian international may be available for a fee that is considered remarkably enticing in today's inflated market. Although the Red Devils have already reinforced their attacking department with the arrivals of Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo, both players are more naturally inclined to operate as attacking midfielders or second strikers within Rubenamorim's 3-4-3 system. In other words, United are still lacking that traditional focal point at the top end of the pitch, someone capable of leading the line in a more orthodox fashion. At present, Amarim has three recognised options for the striker role: Rasmus Hojlund, promising youngster Chido Obi, and the newly acquired Joshua Zirkzee. Yet, insiders at Old Trafford insist the Portuguese tactician remains eager to strengthen further, ensuring his side possess sufficient firepower to sustain consistency across the entirety of what promises to be a grueling campaign. Over recent months, United have been linked with a number of illustrious names. Newcastle's talisman Alexander Isak, Leipzig's Benjamin Eko, and Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson have all been under consideration. However, the financial outlay required to prize any of these players away from their respective clubs is deemed unrealistic, particularly given United's current economic situation and the necessity of measured expenditure. Attention has also turned towards Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins, a proven Premier League striker admired for his relentless energy and finishing prowess. Yet Villa's valuation of around £60 million, roughly £1.27 trillion in Indonesian rupiah terms, has quickly cooled any meaningful pursuit. It is, quite simply, a price tag United are not prepared to entertain at this juncture. Within this context, Dusan Vlahovic has re-emerged as an appealing and viable alternative. Reports from Spanish outlet Fitches claim the Serbian could be acquired for as little as £20 million, owing to the fact his contract with Juventus is due to expire in the summer of 2026. For a striker of his pedigree and potential, that represents an opportunity of significant value in a market otherwise dominated by exorbitant sums. The 25-year-old striker produced a respectable return last season, netting 17 goals and registering 5 assists across 44 appearances for the Bianconeri. Since making the switch from Fiorentina, his overall tally stands at 58 goals and 14 assists in 145 outings for Juventus. His earlier exploits in Florence were equally eye-catching, as he plundered 49 goals in 108 matches for La Viola. Despite being heralded as one of Serie A's brightest young stars upon his arrival in Turin, Vlahovic has struggled for absolute consistency in black and white. This perceived stagnation has prompted Juventus executives to consider cashing in sooner rather than risk losing him for nothing when his contract eventually runs down. Manchester United are not alone in their admiration. Reports suggest Atletico Madrid are also monitoring the situation with interest. Nevertheless, it is United who appear the more desperate suitors, their need for a reliable spearhead considerably greater than that of the Spanish club. Still, Amarim himself is keen to project calm. Speaking at a recent press conference, the United manager insisted he is not panicking about recruitment. He stressed that, should no new centre-forward arrive before the deadline, he would remain satisfied with the resources currently at his disposal. Amarim was quick to highlight the versatility of Cunha and Mbeumo, pointing out both players can, if required, fulfill the role of central striker. Alongside them, the likes of Hojlund and Zirkzee provide alternative solutions, with the Portuguese coach making clear that the development of on-field chemistry between his players is presently of greater importance than individual acquisitions. Moreover, Amarim took time to commend his summer signings for their commitment to the club's long-term project. He revealed that Cunha and Mbeumo had opportunities to join Champions League sides, yet still opted for Old Trafford. Such loyalty, he suggested, spoke volumes about the stature of United and the allure of the project under his stewardship. That said, the United boss reiterated the necessity for prudence when navigating the transfer market. Rasmus Hojlund's transfer saga has finally reached a conclusion, with the young Manchester United striker set to make the move to Napoli after both clubs successfully struck a full agreement. The development, confirmed by the ever-reliable transfer journalist Fabrizio Romano, has already entered the much-anticipated Here We Go stage. The Danish forward will initially join the reigning Serie A champions on loan, with Napoli paying €6 million up front. However, the deal also carries a clause which, under certain conditions, will transform the option to buy into an obligation, bringing the total package to a sizable €44 million. The 22-year-old has already signalled his approval of the switch, having given the green light to Napoli's proposal several days ago. What remains now is for the player to undergo a routine medical examination before the move is officially rubber-stamped. According to reports, Hojlund is scheduled to land in Italy on Sunday, the 30th of August, 2025, where he will present himself at the Partenope's training complex for the necessary checks. Should all go according to plan, he will immediately put pen to paper on a contract that ties him to the Italian champions for the forthcoming campaign. Romano himself took to his X account to break the news to his millions of followers. Breaking: Rasmus Hojlund to Napoli, here we go. A verbal agreement has been reached between all parties. He further elaborated that the deal consists of a €6 million loan, with the crucial option to buy clause that could be triggered under certain pre-agreed conditions for a fee of €44 million. Insiders close to the negotiations have also confirmed that the paperwork is already being prepared and that Napoli view the Dane as a marquee acquisition to steady their attack following the untimely injury to Romelu Lukaku. For Hojlund, this move represents a return to familiar ground. Before his big-money transfer to Manchester United in the summer of 2023, he had made a name for himself in Italy with Atalanta. During the 2022-23 season, the striker impressed with 10 goals across 34 appearances in all competitions, swiftly attracting attention from Europe's elite. That form persuaded United to part with a hefty €75 million to secure his services, but despite flashes of promise at Old Trafford, his spell in England has been somewhat inconsistent. A fresh start in Serie A may therefore serve as the perfect tonic to rejuvenate his career. Napoli, on the other hand, see Hojlund not merely as a stopgap but as a long-term investment capable of restoring their attacking fluidity. With Lukaku sidelined for a considerable period, the club's hierarchy have moved decisively to avoid being left short in the forward department. The expectation in Naples is that Hojlund will bring youthful energy, a keen eye for goal, and the hunger to prove himself on a stage he already knows well. For supporters of the Partenope, the prospect of welcoming a former Atalanta prodigy who still has much to give is a tantalizing one, as they look to defend their domestic crown and make a meaningful push in Europe. In Naples, anticipation is already building among the tifosi, with local media portraying Hojlund's arrival as not just a pragmatic response to Lukaku's absence but a romantic reunion between Serie A and one of its former rising stars. Supporters have been quick to recall his explosive displays in ggmu colours, and there is a palpable sense that his youthful vigour and Scandinavian resilience could blend seamlessly with the city's passion for football.